Welcome back to A Leading Hand, the podcast which helps high school students and parents navigate education, well being, and the journey to university with clarity and confidence. Today, we are joined by someone who is living the experience many students dream about studying at an Ivy League university. We welcome Arihant Boli, a second year student at University of Pennsylvania, an Ivy League university in US. He's going to give us an honest, real world experience of how life at university is and what the high school students need to focus on, both academically and outside, as in the extracurricular activities. If you're aiming at studying at a top university or just curious about what life after high school looks like, then this is for you. Welcome, Arihant. Can you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Awesome. Yeah. Hi, my name is Ari. I'm a sophomore or just completed my sophomore year at the University of Pennsylvania, studying cognitive neuroscience with a minor at healthcare management from the Wharton School. Currently an incoming investment banking analyst at Leerink Partners on the biopharma team, working specifically in biopharma mergers and acquisitions as well as biopharma equity capital markets.
Okay, awesome. That's a lot to achieve in 1 year, Arihant. I have to say that.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we'll just start off with what we're looking at today. University of Pennsylvania. So, how is university life compared to what did you imagine when you were in high school, the university life to be, and what is the reality compared to?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more fun than high school, I will say. It's very work hard, play hard. I guess it's a great time for your own personal development, not only academically, career-wise, but also finding out what type of person you're going to be, what type of, young adult you're going to be, and transitioning on into the type of impact you want to leave on the world and who you surround yourself with really matters.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay, getting before we get into the details of how high school life is or what did you concentrate on,
Mhm.
I know it is having umbrella of answers. Like, how do you define success for yourself? That is something like we all kind of have different answers and don't know where to kind of land on it.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think definitely very broad. But I think there's a few things to keep in mind, right? Like overarchingly, where you're going in your life, the things you do every day, are you happy? I think that's the first thing. Um, are you happy with what you're doing? Are you happy with where you're going? Are you happy with the future you see for yourself? But I think more specifically, you find an intersection of three things: what you're really good at, where the opportunity lies, um, and yeah, what you're really good at, where the opportunity lies, and what do you enjoy learning about, like what you're passionate about, right? So if you can find an intersection of what you're good at, what you enjoy, and where opportunity is, and you're able to commit yourself to that, I think you're bound to see a lot of success in that space.
Get into a little bit of the student mode here, and then what is the driving force you think the high school students need to kind of develop within themselves to keep them on their toes for their entire high school and have success at the end of the 4 years?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's a strong purpose of why, right? I think one thing that a lot of us get caught up in high school is feel like a lot of people listening could relate, but like parental pressures are like my mom wants me to do good in school, so I'm going to do it. If you don't have a genuine reason for why you're doing this or why you want to achieve excellence in whatever it is, school, academics, gym, sports, whatever your desired field is, and that doesn't come internally, external pressure can only get you so far. And you're going to start kind of BSing your way through things just to appease that external pressure, as opposed to take, genuine curiosity and genuine learning, and genuine care for whatever subject matter you're focusing on. So I think you need to have a genuine reason as to why you're interested in, if you say you want to be a doctor, okay, why medicine? Like genuinely why? And if you're able to nail that down, the hard work, the dedication, the motivation, those will all like, especially motivation will all kind of fluctuate. But if you have a real genuine grounding as to why you're doing what you're doing, you will be able to be dedicated or you'll be able to be dedicated to it for a long time. At the end of the day, like achieving success in any field requires years and years of work. Um, and to be the best, you have to genuinely have a good reason as to why you're doing it.
Mm, okay. When it comes to high school students, I know they have a lot of distractions and stuff. When you say, okay, look at why you're interested in something, is there anything that might help them to actually kind of focus and kind of look at this one?
In terms of finding what they're like, what they love.
Yeah, what the love with so many distractions, so many interests, and so many
Yeah,
subjects floating around them. And
yeah, that's a good question. I think it comes back a little bit to what I said a bit earlier in terms of like more practically, right? A lot of people say like, oh, follow your dreams. Like, yeah, to an extent, right? Um, you find what you're good at, and then you find what you like. And if you can merge those two and see what fields are there overlap in, and then where's opportunity today, you're going to be able to kind of center down on a field that you should look at, right? And that's not just specifically for school. That's everything, right? Like if you want to go be an electrician, you're good at working with your hands.
mm,
You like computers to an extent, right? I'm just spitballing here. And then there's opportunity because we always need electricians. We need people to work with their hands. That might be a good field for you, right? Like it matches
mm,
all three things. It might not be perfectly aligned with what you love or perfectly aligned with what you're good at. But if you can find a space, and I think another thing too with those three, when you draw that Venn diagram, is finding a space where you genuinely can continue to learn, right? You see a lot of people later on in their career where they reach a stage of complacency. They're kind of doing the same thing in their work every single day, and it's very mundane. They don't really learn anything new. You need to be able to find a space where you can keep learning and you push yourself to do that, right? Like every
mm,
field will always have more opportunity to learn. There's always new developments in every field. But if you don't genuinely have some sort of interest or care about what you do, you're not going to push yourself to continue learning. So I think that goes for high school. I think that goes for your future career too, right?
mm,
So if you can find that space that has those whatever three trifecta, as well as something where you can continue to learn, you can do that. And practically speaking, in grade 9, grade 8, grade 7, use that time to explore, right? Use that time to join all the clubs, see what you like, see what your friends are doing. Like you have Google at your disposal, you have AI, you have every what possible search opportunity there is. Um, Talk to people, reach out to people. Don't just rely exclusively on the search. Use the search to guide you to certain people and then have conversations with real people that are in the field. There's not a single professional that I think that wouldn't give like 10, 15 minutes to a 14-year-old that's interested about their field, right? Like, of course,
mm,
within
mm,
reason. But in general, people like to mentor and use your youth to your advantage. The younger you are, the easier it is to get that mentorship. So seek it
mm.
early, seek it often. And if you get rejected, don't take that personally and just keep going.
Hmm. Yeah, I think there is that wonderful story about you reaching out to a lot of people. Would you like to add something about like how did you reach out to your mentors and how was your journey in high school?
Yeah, I think in terms of that, a lot of it comes down to there's just like quote I like you have to be good to be lucky and lucky to be good. Right. And a lot of some of it was luck, right? And then at the same time, a lot of it was luck through the chance of persistence.
Yes,
I
luck
spent
favors the
4 years.
persistent.
Yeah, I spent 4 years at an HIV charity, and that was where I met my main mentors in high school, which allowed me to apply to Penn and luckily get in. But I found that charity, luckily, right? It was like a random internet search. I found it. But for 4 weeks before that, I've been trying to find volunteering positions in healthcare. And this was during peak COVID where everything was closed down. So I couldn't get a single hospital. I emailed everyone I possibly could at more traditional healthcare centers and nothing responded until at the very end, I found this charity and threw in an application. So yes, I did get lucky in finding them. But I think if you keep being persistent and you work so hard and shoot so many shots, it should be statistically unlikely that you don't succeed. I think that when that combination comes well, you're pretty good. And then in terms of cultivating the relationship with mentors, I think what a lot of people that I've seen, at least my mentors, look for is a genuine passion for the space, whatever you're being mentored in,
Mm, mm,
genuine care for your work, and just the small things, right? Like be diligent, be communicative, respond to their emails early and often, send them a thank you note, send them a Christmas note, cultivate a relationship by just being a genuinely charismatic individual. And I think if you do those little things right and you show you can do the little things right, they will start trusting you with more important stuff. In the case of the charity, it was doing the little things right for 2 years, which allowed me to go on multiple conferences across the world. So I think that was really integral. And then now in the business world of doing the little things right at my school clubs has allowed me to get an internship in New York through a mentor of mine, right?
mhm. Yeah, that's a good one. So I think even emailing just by Googling is a good way for any high school student to start with, right?
100%. You reach out to everyone and anyone.
Mm.
I remember for me in high school, I went to go do a research internship. Luckily, did it in Los Angeles at USC. Before that, I had reached out to like 10,000 professors on
Mm.
Gmail. It was something crazy. It wasn't exactly 10,000, of course, but I reached out to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of professors, read their research, summarized it, shot them messages, right? Like, and one responded and I got one. Don't let
Mm.
rejection dismay you. Um, it should be motivating, if anything, because you're just getting one step closer to a yes. Every no is one step closer to a yes. You will get there eventually. That being said, like also iterate, also learn. Like if you send, for say, 1,000 emails out and you don't get a single yes, there's probably something wrong with your email, right? Like have some common sense, use your discretion where that's appropriate, and like learn, iterate, change. But my idea of don't give up, change, modify, learn, adapt. Don't give up. The second you give up, you lose. You don't really lose until you whatever give up, and that's for anything, right? Whether it's athletics or academics
Mm.
or any field.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, coming to that, there was the next question was like, what is one thing like it is not taught in the school, and but the high school students and the teachers probably need to a little bit pay a little bit more attention in school? What is one such thing that the students need to focus on?
It's a great question. Um, I think big picture, we can talk about extracurriculars specifically too if you want a little bit, but
Later, yeah.
big picture, big picture, it's the people skills. I think people skills
People skills.
define everything, especially in the way the world is heading.
Mm.
We don't need a generation of people that are just okay at anything, right?
Mm.
Right. If you're like an 80 student, or yeah, if you're like an 80 student, you don't have people skills, you're like okay. AI can do jobs to an okay level as of now, right?
Yes.
We have a technology that's able to do grunt work. AI is great at grunt. AI is great at researching. AI is great at sourcing. AI can't sell,
Mm.
right? We want we need people to have and develop this charisma, these people skills, the ability to sell, the ability to communicate. Because at the end of the day, if you can show with your people skills you have a willingness to learn, people are way more likely to take a chance on you, right? But besides, someone for say a 97, this is like once again a hyperbole, but once with a 97 versus a 92, if the kid with a 92 has people skills and is willing to learn and willing to adapt and willing to grow versus someone that's a bit more stuck up but has a higher grade. Um, and the reason I just say that is because, I mean, this is for business, but it's for a bunch of other professions too, right? You don't necessarily learn the skills that you do on the day-to-day job in your school, right? Your school skills versus your job skills are very distinct. Um, School shows that you're competent. It's a check mark. You're competent, you're able to learn, you're able to commit to something, you're able to show up on time. Those are the skills that schools show for, and schools will filter for it. You have a degree, great. You have a baseline level of competency. You can show up on time, you can do your work, fantastic. But the actual like learning on the job, you don't take like a class to do the job, right? Those skills tend to differ, and every company has their own systems and whatnot. So of course you can never teach for that. What you want to be focusing on is showing people you are adaptable, that you can talk, that you can understand like code switching, that you can read people, right? You're not going to talk to the 65-year-old the same way you talk to a 22-year-old. Those are different people, different conversations, understanding how to handle yourself in rooms. I think those are all incredibly important things. And the only way you're going to get good at that is by talking to people and reaching out to people and learning from mistakes, right? You're going to have bad conversations. You're going to have people that don't like you. That's just a part of the reality. And that's all part of learning. And you have to ask yourself, okay, what can I do better? How can I improve?
Perfect. Yeah, I think that's something I haven't heard for this one, people skills, because a lot of the students tend to neglect, not neglect, but ignore it.
Yeah.
Yeah, as they think it is not, they're really not that part of life where they need to kind of learn it or kind of display it. But I
No,
think
I
high
think,
school is a good place to start, because high school, I think even the kids, they are moving into adulthood, so they're growing as a person as well alongside
yeah.
academically. So yeah, good one. Yeah. Okay, now let's kind of get into the experiences that really stand out. that the students have to do in high school, like be it extracurricular or academically, how much important they have to kind of concentrate on score, and then how about the extracurricular? What kind of extracurriculars actually help them, and how do they go about choosing them?
Yeah. Here, I love talking about this because I think a lot of people miss the mark pretty significantly when it comes to building their extracurricular portfolio out. So I'm going to lay this out as opposed to a list of what specific extracurriculars to do, rather what works for you. Anyone that gives you broad advice for, oh, you should do this, 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 and this is like immediately off the bat probably wrong. And the reason they are is because if you do a diverse set of extracurriculars, everyone else does a diverse set of extra. There's nothing that's making you stand out. You're just a control C, control V, copy and paste of everyone else. How many kids have 90% averages that partake in every club of their school? Like, this is a very common thing. There's nothing that makes you stand out. I think you should do that in your early years in grade 9. Yeah, join everything, see what you're good at, see what you like, make some friends, 100%. But when it comes time to like grade 11, grade 12, when you're starting to apply to universities, you need to narrow down two things. What is actually my goal at the university, right? Like, what am I actually aiming for here? If you're aiming for like an Ivy League, then the second part is more relevant. If you're not, then the second part is less relevant because you don't need to do this for for a non Ivy League or for non like Mac Health Sci or Western Ivy. If you're just aiming for maybe a lower admission average program or something different, it's not like incredibly relevant. But in terms of if that is your goal, if Mac Health Sci is your goal, or Penn or Princeton or Harvard or Western Ivy, you need to build a story. Your story needs to make sense. Your story needs to be uniquely you, that anyone that reads your extracurricular portfolio and without your name on it, if someone read your resume without your name on it, they should know it's you, right? Because of how good that story is. For me, it was being an Indian person working in HIV activism that was very unique, that hadn't been seen. I talked about the struggles that I had with my parents with that, how they came around and eventually supported it, how everything that I was working on in the activism I saw in my personal life with my parents coming around and the destigmatization that happened there, right? And then when it came to finance, it was for me working in HIV activism, how I saw a lot of pharmaceutical companies that relayed and released a bunch of HIV drugs in our partnership meetings. And I found one of them really cool. And that I started reading into the pharma company, went from there and got into healthcare finance, which I'm working in now. I think being able to craft a story and show excellence in your specific chosen field of extracurriculars is incredibly important because it makes you stand out. So for a high school student, I say, use your first couple of years, find what you like, find what you're really good at and what you can be excellent in, and then craft a narrative around that and get really, really, really deep into that field. If it's sports, go D1, right? Like be the absolute best or attempt to be the absolute best in whatever you choose. If it's activism, go find a way to get to the biggest charity you can work for at the highest position in high school. Run as big of a conference as you can, organize as large of a protest as you can. Just be incredibly good at that one thing, right? As opposed to, okay, I'm going to join DECA, I'm going to join HOSA, I'm going to join XYZ club. I see so many kids like doing that, just trying to check a box or go stat pad, or just make their resume look good. And it doesn't actually build a comprehensive story, and people can kind of read right through that, right? So you need to build that story, and we can talk a little bit more about that if you want in specific, but that's the biggest, most important thing is building a story and being excellent in what you choose.
Yeah, I think we can drive it because most of even when my daughter joined the high school or thing, the common notion people have is you need to have display your ability in everything. Okay, you need to be have a cultural volunteer thing. You need to have something in sports, something academic, and like so kids are trying to do a lot of things around to show. Okay, I can do all these things, kind of a scenario, which is in contrast to what we are currently discussing that, okay, grade 9 and 10, it is okay for you to still have all of them. But when it comes to 11 and 12, you have to concentrate on what you're kind of looking forward to or what you're planning to join next.
Yeah, 100%. And like, I think it just comes back down to the idea of being average at everything, right? Like, there's no use for that. Like, if you're in DECA, if you're like, for me, I was never the smartest, highest SAT, best academic international competition winner, right? So that I didn't do those things because I just didn't see myself being the best at it, where there was the skill gap was so large, my interest level wasn't that high in competing in HOSA internationally. So I didn't focus on that, right? If you try to spread yourself too thin, you are at the end of the day, you're like 14, 15, 16. Like you're still a person, you still need to have friends, you still need to like do all those normal things. And if you still spread yourself so thin trying to be great at everything, you're just going to be pretty average at everything. And then you're going to go to apply to college burnt out. You're going to be like, oh, I worked so hard at all these different things. I'm amazing. And then they're going to be like, well, you pretty just average at everything. Why would we accept you here? At the end of the day, like these elite institutions and elite programs, they want to build the best class, right? And building the best class is their class needs to be holistic. Like they want a holistic class. And to have a holistic class, they need to have the best violin player in the world. They want to have the best activist in the world. They want to have the best mathematician in the world, right? Those kids all focused on one thing in high school. And that's why the whole class is incredibly excellent, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you try to spread yourself too thin, you're just not really in the pool or what they're looking for, right?
Mm-hmm.
So focus on one or two things. Yeah, I still played hockey all 4 years of high school, right? Like I didn't go D1. I wasn't that great. Like I still had a couple things, I was still part of a club here and there that was just fun for me. And I mentioned it at the bottom of my application. Like, yeah, I just did this for fun, or I did this part of something. But it shouldn't be the focus of your application, right? Like your application essay should tell a story. It should be able to say, okay, you should be able to summarize someone in like a sentence. Oh, this is Ari. He did a bunch of HIV activism. That's his main thing, right? Should have that like main thing. Like well-rounded with a spike is like is a good like comparison.
A lot of students probably they struggle to actually look at, okay, if this extracurricular activity is kind of something that might help me, is there some exercise they can do or some groundwork that they can prepare themselves to actually kind of narrow down and kind of um, um, uh, arrive at, okay, this might probably the thing, like maybe, okay, as you said, like the story has to be big, so it is the size of the organization you're working for, or like what are the factors that the probably that they can consider.
Yeah, great question. I think it comes down to being honest with yourself and doing a deep dive into where is the true opportunity. Like you just got to be very honest. How big can I make this, right? Like that's the one thing you should ask yourself. How big can I make this? How deep can I push? How far can I push? Is this something that can get media attention? Can a newspaper get written about this? Can this get published in the Star, right? Your local DECA club probably winning provincials is not getting published. Like no one cares, objectively speaking. If you started the first DECA club in rural Northern Ontario and you guys won the international DECA competition, yeah, that's incredibly cool. You will get published. You will get some attention from that. Do that. If you've had a DECA club for 20 years and you're not the best in your club, like this is probably not worth your time, right? Like unless you have a dying love for business and you can learn everything and you think you genuinely can be the best, then yeah, do that, right? You should ask yourself, how original is this too, right? Like compared to like for example, for saying in high school, I wanted to do computer science, right? Like an Indian male doing computer science. Like I was never going to get a NASA internship. I'm not that smart. No one there are kids that I go to school with now that have been working at NASA or worked at Google in high school. I would be competing against those people if I was trying to do computer science, right? And that skill gap is so large. And I'm just honest. I'm like, yeah, I'm just not going to do it. Also, I don't care about computer science that much. Like, I just, yeah, the salary is attractive, sure, but I'm not going to be great. And there's no point in pursuing that. So be honest with yourself and see how deep you can genuinely push something, right? And how unique it is to your story. And it doesn't make sense, right? Like, also, you should enjoy doing it too, because if you don't enjoy doing it, no matter how deep you can push it, you just won't, because you're not going to work hard enough. And there's someone that's enjoying it more than you and is going to outwork you. So you should be able to work very hard and diligently at it. Once again, coming back to my first point, you need to have a strong why.
Makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, I think I had a lot of follow-up questions on that, but I think you pretty much covered most of them on how to choose and why to choose an extracurricular activity and how to go about towards it, like how much effort they actually need to put into the extracurricular activity, because it's your application is going to be dependent on it to a great extent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Next, coming down to again major. I know it might probably sound repetitive, but how do you
No.
think? Like, how did you choose your major? Did you kind of have a change of mind when you were kind of finalizing it, or was it something that you always wanted to do?
Yeah, 100%. So this is a bit of a tricky question, and I'm gonna preface it with what my major is and how I got to that decision, and then I'll talk a little bit about why I don't think it actually really matters what you major in. Um, and yeah, so with American schools, you don't get accepted to a major for the most part. You get
Mhm.
accepted to the school, and you can major in whatever.
Mhm.
For me, I was fortunate enough to get into Penn. And from there, I started off as an economics major because I thought I wanted to do banking, which is what I'm doing now. Then later on, after doing a little bit of economics major and taking some psychology classes that were general, I found those to be more interesting. Still liked a little bit of the economics and hard sciences. Took some bio classes too. Really liked those. So just kind of was thinking about what I want to major in and declared recently. But it came down to a combination of, a little bit of hard science, a little bit of people skills, soft sciences, and I think cognitive science that was offered at Penn, had that blend of everything. And specifically, it's concentrating in neuroscience. So cognitive neuroscience. So it's taking a lot of neuroscience classes. So I get those kind of sciences that I'm used to from doing biology. Has the psychology base, which is super interesting for understanding people, choices, and decision making. And a lot of managing directors I talked to in banking actually recommended you major in psychology or take a lot of logic or game theory classes because at the end of the day, like you can teach anyone finance, you can teach anyone how to do accounting. That's not hard. It's just math. But being able to read people and understand situations and how to think tactically, I think is incredibly important. So I think that's what went into making the decision for my major. Why I don't think it matters is I think if academics is your thing, right? Like I want to say this. I think I wanted to mention it earlier too, but I just didn't come around to it, right? If academics is your thing, and school is your thing, I think it matters way more what school you go to and what program you go to in the case of Canada
Mm.
than what your major is. Um, there's only a few select fields I could think of where your major really matters, and computer science is the only one that really comes to mind. Everything else is either you need graduate education, so your undergrad major doesn't really matter for medicine because you still need to go to med school.
Mm.
But in the context of like major, getting into the best school possible in the US, if the US is your goal, is way more important than whatever your major is. Major in whatever. Like my buddies majored in philosophy and fine arts and they work at JP Morgan and Goldman
Mm.
Sachs, right? Like when you get into like a Harvard, a Penn, a Columbia, when you go to do like recruiting for finance or any of these like kind of big, more prestigious jobs that you keep hearing about, they care way less about your major and more about your behaviorals, your ability to work long hours, and your genuine intellectual curiosity and willingness to learn. Are you trainable? Are you communicative? Can you work the incredible hours these jobs demand of you? And are you intelligent enough to keep up with them? Right? Your major, like majoring in philosophy versus political science versus finance, doesn't really change any of those conversations. It'll come down to your experiences and what have you done outside of the classroom. In
Mm.
terms of Canada, I know it's a bit different because you just can't change majors like that, and schools are known for their programs. So I think in Canada, your best bet is to get into the absolute best program you should aim for. So for McMaster, that would be like health science, life science, Waterloo software engineering, computer engineering, or of course. I don't know if computer engineering is one of the majors, but software for sure. But yeah, aim for like the absolute, and then Western, IB, Queen's Commerce.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a good insight. Choosing the best university as your first priority if you're doing it in Canada and if you're doing it in US. I think it's still the same. The university matters, but you have the flexibility to switch your major there.
Yeah, I think the university matters way more in the US,
Mm.
because in Canada it's program, right? Like
Mm. Mm.
you're engineering from McMaster versus Waterloo. Everyone knows Waterloo is better for engineering versus pre-med. It's would be McMaster, right? So it depends on your program more in Canada, but in the US, like university by far. If you get into an Ivy League, a lot of doors open up within finance and other careers. It doesn't really matter what you major in too much.
Mm. Awesome. Okay, that's a lot of this on academic and extracurricular
Yeah.
activities. Let's kind of soft down a bit and think of how do you manage the mental and your physical fitness when it comes to having so much
Yeah.
to do at university, and how did you manage it in high school?
Yeah, I think friends. Friends is the biggest thing. I'm very social. I love to go out. I love to hang out with my friends. So I think the biggest piece of advice, if I could give to anyone in high school, would be like enjoy it. Enjoy your time with your friends. Like at the end of the day, you're not going like I don't ever think back to high school and think of like, oh, the 98 I got on a test or like crap, like I forgot. I remember when I bombed that test and like no, I think about like, oh, the times I hung out with my friends when we went and did like dumb stuff in Toronto or like ran around the city after like a conference, right? Like engage with your friends, make them a part of your activities if you're doing stuff, build with your friends. Like if you're a computer science person, go code with your friends, right? Like go start a startup, like have fun, do stuff. For me, like I brought my friends into the activism stuff. They volunteered at Let's Stop AIDS to get their 40 hours for Ontario OSSD, right? Like that all matters. That's all like you're still being productive, but you're having a great time. You're making memories with like I still am pretty tight with my high school friends. So even though we all moved to different places, like one of my buddies in Collingwood and others in Waterloo and being a pilot, I'm in Philly, right? Like we don't get to see each other that often, but we still talk like every few days.
Mhm.
So that's what's going to matter. And I think college, it even matters more because especially if you're going into a field like finance or if you're going into a field like engineering, the people that you're friends with are the people you're going to be working with in 15 years. At Penn, especially, right? Like I heard the best thing I heard at Penn was look to your left, look to your right. In 15 years, those people will be at Wall Street with you. So how you treat them today, how you treat them tomorrow is going to be remembered. So treat everyone with kindness, treat everyone with respect. And in terms of like the physical health, yeah, go to the gym, work out, please. Like start lifting. I've been lifting since high school, so it's like something that I can't go without. You need to take care of your physical health. It matters as much. It gives you something to look forward to outside of school. It gives you something that you know you can be in control of. And I think I'm a really big proponent of lifting because it's one thing that you can't buy your way into. Like no amount of money will buy you a good physique. It is a test of your discipline, how you are physically fit. Like it shows what you're eating. It shows how much self control you have, and it's one of the biggest proponents of delayed gratification. It takes a long time to get a good physique. It's a work in progress. You always keep working to it. You're always unsatisfied. You always want more. I think it's a good metaphor for your career. So if you start young and start often, you build those habits and they leak into the rest of your life.
So, yeah, that's a great advice. Um, there's one more, just one last thing. What is your one mindset switch that helped you in high school? Like you kind of were believing something else earlier, and then there was a shift, and it kind of paid off
Yeah.
in a bigger scale.
I think funny enough, it's not trying to be an academic. I just realized that like I'm not smart enough to be an academic. I'm not smart enough to go be a PhD professor and be a thinker or um, like work on groundbreaking research. That's just not. I'm not going to be the best like biologist. I'm not going to be the best physicist, whatever have you, whatever I was interested in. Like, and I just transitioned to me into someone that's more of a doer. And it's like, okay, I'm just going to get things done, right? Like, I'm going to work on this. I'm going to make this as big as possible. I'm going to just get real things in the real world done, and see how much I can do as opposed to like, kind of ponder on ideas or build on research or contribute to those types of things. And those things are incredibly important. We wouldn't be able to do anything without like academic research. We wouldn't have these developments. I've just realized I'm not smart enough for that. Like yeah, exactly. I think a big part of it is being honest with yourself, right? And you have this goal, like I wanted to get to an Ivy League. I wanted to be traditionally successful in my career. Okay, what does that look like for me, and what are my skills actually relevant to that, right? Like you can go be an Ivy League professor, and that's still fulfilling those goals of being successful, but like that's not my skill set. That's not what I'm interested in. So okay, you go be a doer. People in finance, they do stuff. They're not the most like of course, very incredibly intelligent people, but they're not rocket scientists. They're doers, right? They get work done. They work long hours. And I think that's the mindset I adopted and where I found myself. If you are the research type of person, go pursue that full blast, right? Just be honest with yourself. And I think you need to be very self aware and constantly ask for criticism and feedback. I don't think I would be how the person I am, both as a person and as well as a professional for whatever context, without constantly asking for feedback. And I think the biggest thing is always knowing that you don't know it, right? There's so much more to learn. And I think every time I learn something new or I go into a new field or explore a new space, I realize there's just so much more that I still don't know. And being honest that, hey, yeah, you don't know it. Go learn, go talk to people that know more than you in that space, and just being open with your own like vulnerability and fragility. Is very important to keep learning. And that's something I try to do every day.
Yeah, that's so much in contrary to what the teenage mantra is.
Yeah.
So
100%.
that's a good thing that you mentioned.
No, I mean, I definitely was like that too, but I think the more you kind of grow up and you just start to see, okay, yeah, you really don't know anything. And I think I realize that more and more every day. So just be open to that at an early age and keep learning because, the more you actually start to learn, the more you just see, like, wow, I'm so grossly uneducated.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah. Yeah, there is one final statement for parents. If there's
100%.
something that you would like to kind of you observed or you would like to kind of tell the parents on how can they support their children without actually adding pressure?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. I think the best person to answer that would be my parents. They've done an incredible job of being so supportive, and I wouldn't be able to do anything today or whatever little I have achieved and whatever more I hope to achieve. It's all because of them. So, starting off with that, I think that goes without saying. But in terms of supporting, I think it's one thing my parents did for me that I'm so grateful for, and that I will always remember it is just being always willing to give me exposure, right? When I was young and I always said, hey, like I want to go to some universities, I want to check them out. I was like in the seventh grade. Most people would be like, you're not applying for like 5 years. Why would we even go waste our time driving? My parents they took the day off work. They would drive me to McMaster or Western, sometimes even to the US. We went to like Penn State. We went to Rochester when I was interested in pre-med for those programs. And we just saw them out. We looked at people, we talked to people, and always encouraged me to, hey, go speak to them. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. Go speak to them. Go learn, right? Um, I think that pushing me out of my comfort zone at a very young age and just being open to asking other people stuff and learning really broke down like any sort of social barriers for me. It was really important. So I think if I could give any advice to parents, it would just be incredibly supportive to whatever availability you have for your children, right? Whatever interest they have, allow them to pursue that to the absolute max that you're able to do. And be genuinely interested and open for them, right? I think that gives them that ability to explore at a young age and let them take on risks. I mean, my parents were very always risk averse because, I'm only child and whatnot, but like going to Toronto alone for like the charity stuff, they kind of came around to it eventually. So let them take a risk. At the end of the day, like you're young, you'll learn. You'll be fine. You'll be safe, right? So go downtown, go talk to people, go learn, go shoot emails, and just learn from anyone and everyone you possibly can.
Hmm. Thank you, Arihant.
Of course.
Yeah, I think coming to the closing statement, if
Yeah.
there's one line that you would like the high school students to remember you by, what would that one line be?
Oh, remember me? I don't know if you need to remember. They need to
Or
remember.
maybe our episode.
But just yeah. Oh yeah. For in terms of like in general, in today's day and age and what have you, focus on the people around you. People will always make the place. Um, People are the thing that matter the most in life, right? So learn from people, talk to people, value the relationships you have, be in the mindset to go cultivate more relationships, personal, professional, what have you. Just go learn, go talk. And if you can be a social person, you will naturally learn, you will naturally be curious. And I think one line specifically, you are the collection of the five people you surround yourself with the most. So surround yourself with other smart, hardworking, dedicated people in the space that you choose. And then lastly, I think I want to leave off with the reminder that I know this episode is very academically focused, and I think a lot of people that would be listening to this are focusing on academics or whatnot. But in terms of for parents or for kids, school isn't everyone's thing. If you are genuinely good at other things, there are so many opportunities in this world to go make great money, to go have a great, fulfilling, successful career. School isn't the only thing. If it's clear that school isn't for you and you are not good at school, you don't need to fit a square peg in a circle hole, right? Go find
Yes.
what you're good at. If it's being an electrician, if it's being a plumber, like I know so many people that went into trades and made incredible money in that space because there's a demand for um, blue collar workers in today's day and age. You can start a business. There's a shortage of those workers. You can go be a police officer. You can go do so many different things in this world. You can go work in intelligence, go work for the military, right? Like there's so much opportunity there is. You need to find where that is and how it aligns with what you're good at and what you're interested in and go from there.
Thank you very much, Arihant. I think
Yes.
I really appreciate you kind of touched upon the overall development or the characters that the high school students need to develop in these very important years of their life.
100%. Of
Yeah.
course. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and it's really cool to see what you guys are doing. So it's
Thank
amazing.
you very much, Arihant.
Of
I
course.
appreciate having you.
Of course. Take
Good
care,
luck.
guys.
Thank
Talk
you.
to you soon. Bye.
Bye. That was Arihant for us. Thank you once again, Arihant. To all our listeners, if you found this interesting, feel free to share it with your friends who might find this helpful as well. Subscribe to our podcast so you get notifications on our next episodes. If you are genuinely looking for any particular subject or any particular questions that need answering, feel free to email us at the mail ID given below. Thank you. See you again with another guest.